Today we're diving into something called Laya Yoga. It's an ancient and, honestly, a really powerful practice with one single, incredibly relevant goal: to help us tame our scattered minds. So let me ask you a question. Does this feel familiar? Your mind just constantly jumping from one thought to the next, one notification to another, never really, landing anywhere? If you're nodding along, you are definitely not alone. It's pretty much the default setting in our world today.
And as our source material puts it so perfectly, it's like that monkey has a lifetime espresso subscription. But what if there was a way to cancel that subscription? What if there was a disciplined craft for calming all that inner chaos?
So let's get right into it. We're going to explore Laya Yoga not as some, mystical, far-out idea, but as a really practical, ancient solution for this very, very modern problem.
So what exactly is Laya Yoga? Well, the name itself translates to the yoga of dissolution. Now, I know, that sounds a little intense, right? But the core idea is actually super elegant. It's all about intentionally absorbing your mind into one single point of focus and then following that object as it gets more and more subtle. But how does this whole dissolution thing actually work? Well, that brings us right to the core principle of the practice, which is really this beautiful art of melting inward. Okay, this slide shows a fantastic contrast. On the left, that's our default mode, right? Our attention is constantly being pulled outward by 1,000 different things. But Laya Yoga, over on the right, completely flips that script. It's not about being pulled, it's about consciously guiding your attention inward, and then allowing it to merge, or melt, into its point of focus.
I absolutely love this idea of attention physics. Laya Yoga basically reverses that capture dynamic. So you're not wrestling with your distractions. Instead, you choose an inner object, like a sound or a sensation. And as you follow it deeper, its gravitational pull on your attention actually grows stronger. It's such a fascinating paradox, isn't it? And a really important thing to get is that Laya isn't just one single rigid technique. You should think of it more like a core principle, this mechanism of absorption, that you can apply through a bunch of different pathways. It's kind of like a versatile toolkit for your mind.
And here are 4 of the main pathways. You can use inner sound, which is called Nada Laya, or maybe the vibration of a mantra. You could also focus on the subtle energy of psychic centers, what we call chakras, or even something as basic as the flow of your own breath. See, each one is just a different handle, a different doorway to guide your mind inward.
But hey, don't think of these as rigid, separate boxes. They're all deeply interconnected. A chanted mantra, for example, eventually becomes a purely inner sound. And that sound might then create a resonance you can actually feel in a specific energy center. They all flow into one another.
Okay, so that's all the theory, but what does this actually look like in practice? Let's walk through a really concrete example using one of those pathways we just talked about, Nada Yoga, the yoga of inner sound.
Nada Yoga is the perfect case study for this. It follows that Laya logic perfectly. You start with a sound that's easy to perceive, and then you just follow its echo into the subtler and subtler layers of your own awareness. So here's the roadmap. First up, you set the conditions. Just find a quiet space. Second, get into a comfortable posture and gently close off your ears. The third step is what we'll call the bait. You create a gentle humming sound on your exhale. This just gives your mind an anchor. Now here's the crucial shift in step 4. You stop humming and you start listening for the subtle internal sounds that just arise on their own. And finally, step 5 is all about letting go. You simply allow your mind to follow those sounds, from the obvious to the subtle, without forcing anything at all. And you really don't need to block out hours for this. The source material is super practical about this, suggesting you just start with maybe 15 minutes a day. The goal isn't some dramatic, one-time experience. It's about consistently building your capacity for that inner stillness little by little.
So, when you boil it all down, what's the ultimate point? What's the real takeaway from a practice like Laya Yoga?
And this is really the heart of it. Laya Yoga isn't just about relaxation. It is active training. You are literally refining the very instrument you use to experience your entire life, your own attention.
And I think this quote from our source just nails it. It's powerful because it's not just some idea to think about. It is a disciplined craft. It's a skill you actively build, just like learning any other craft. So let's do a super quick recap of the key points. The core principle is absorption. The mechanism is all about reversing that normal capture dynamic of our attention. The method is to follow a focus from gross to subtle, and the ultimate goal, to refine your consciousness and stabilize your mind.
Which leaves us with one final question to just sit with. If you could actually quiet that hyperactive monkey, what would you discover in the stillness that's left behind? Beyond just peace and quiet, what new insights, what deeper realities might be waiting there for you to hear?